What's wrong? Are you all right?
Me? Oh, I'm fine.
Well, I wasn't worried about you, Mike. Ben's face was like, oh my God.
Long morning. There's just a lot going on in the Super Bowl.
All right. Welcome in. It's the Odd Shopper Betting Show. We appreciate you being a part of this as we look at the Super Bowl. Exactly that. We're going to look at some player props, some sides, some totals, some game props, some same game parlays, a bunch of different ways we could carve up, dice, slice this game, and ultimately make you some money. That's why Ben Rasa is here, of course, not only to make you money, but also to brag about ways in which he's going to make himself money. Mike Awesemo's in the house producing. And look, hit that thumbs up button, please. And really, we also want you to subscribe here to the Odd Shopper channel as we continue to grow. It's not just you, the community, but it's all the content that's coming up. And this week is a big one. As Ben will tell you, it's not just here, this show right now. It's a ton of content that's coming your way across the board, man.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's a Super Bowl week. We're getting there. There's still plenty of time, but at the same time, what'd you say?
Slowly, but yes.
Slowly, but surely. You know what? And I do think that we're on a good pace on this show. We kind of carved out our very initial thoughts on Thursday. Now we're starting to cement a little more. I've dug a little deeper into some of the, not crazy props, but some of those secondary props that you kind of only see during the Super Bowl. We've obviously got team props, player props, so a lot to get into, but I'm excited to start cementing my card.
All right. So has anything changed for you as we look right now? And, we have a couple of, I guess, two guys hanging over that we kind of need to know about from a will they play standpoint. But has anything really changed for you big picture here? We'll get to a couple of props, and specifically you mentioned to go a little deeper into what we can find. And I actually, just before the show, was trying to find one specific bet. I could not. I had to play a same game parlay. So I stumbled, I think, backdoored my way into a nice little two-leg same game parlay. But just overall, you and I spoke last week. It wasn't more than, a couple of days on Thursday. Has anything really changed for you as far as your approach to this game? Big picture, side, total, anything like that?
No, I don't. And I don't think anything's going to, because the Super Bowl, we're waiting on a couple of injury things. We want to talk about the tight ends and things like that, but there's nothing that I could see where it's like, wow, this changes the complete dynamic of this game. So from a betting standpoint, I know what I want to do, and that's I lean to the Rams. Now, how I go about that, there's a million different ways to do it, and that doesn't preclude taking some props on a Higgins or a Chase or a Mixon. It just says ultimately, I'm probably on a macro level going more over with the Rams and under on the Bengals.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to really approach it. That's kind of how I've been doing it, right? Just building content, building my own same game parlays, just right down to individual bets. What do I want from my own vision here, which is like you and anybody else who thinks the Rams win. And that's the thing. Forget even the line for a second. It's just, do the Rams win this game? And then I think it's much easier to kind of build from there. So this is where I'm always interested, is when you yourself venture on from like the grounded, reasonable area into the realm of insanity. And I'm not saying that you're full on in there, but you say you were looking around, you were dabbling into a couple of things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure I've entered the insanity levels just yet. I leave that to you. That's why we've got the lethal combo here. But I did look at some things, even on Odd Shopper. I logged on this morning. I wanted to see kind of where's our best projected ROI. One of them that popped up that I've never thought about is Cooper Kupp over or under a half a rushing yard. If you go over, you get plus 250 on that. And I don't think it's impossible to see him take a jet sweep or two. He's done that at times. But just little things like that. Does that mean that I'm altering my card on Cooper Kupp's rushing? Well, no, but it's something that I hadn't even thought about. And that's the beauty of the Super Bowl. You get things on your radar that are so obscure and so different, but there is money to be made. Even some of the sack props I'm going to get into on the Rams side, because I think they can get to Burrow. Different guys, their sack totals, I think is a very interesting way to go about this.
All right, so let me come out swinging right here. And I think this is going to feed into how you see this game as well. And you mentioned sack totals and sack props. So let me hit you with the broader prop and then you can fill it in from the Rams side. But both of us agree the Rams are going to win this game. Both of us agree that the Rams defense can get to Joe Burrow. I think pretty much everybody out there must agree, at least to some extent, that most defenses can get to Joe Burrow. At least that's what we've seen here, this kid on his back. Doesn't mean that the win-loss aside. So here's the same game parlay, 2 legs. 2+ sacks for the Rams, combined with the Rams' race to 30 points. 9 straight games. They have been the first to 20 points. Doesn't matter where those games have been played. Doesn't matter what situation it's been. 9 straight games. It's really difficult for me to believe, because these two are correlated, that the Rams are going to relinquish a 20 to whatever lead, and Joe Burrow is not going to get sacked, meaning the Rams are going to get up. The Bengals are going to have to try to come from behind, and that's going to lead to more sack opportunities. That gets me plus 225 on the return there.
Yeah, again, that's not a normal parlay. Like I can't think of a single week where you would talk about that in the regular season, but for the Super Bowl, we have that opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, I looked at things this morning. Me and Matt Kajeski did a VOD on this very channel for people who are just hopping in for the first time. I see we got a lot of new subscribers. Welcome from NBA to NFL to college football, college basketball. We got you covered here, but you can dig into those type of things. And if you think that there is pressure, and I certainly do, Tennessee sacked him 9 times. The Rams get pressure at a similar rate to the Titans. They're a top 10 in the NFL at that, where the Chiefs were 31st. I think that's a glaring difference. I like the Rams. I think they're going to win the race to most of these numbers, because I think they're going to win the game and probably be leading throughout. So if you want to combine some of those things, I have no problem with parlays like that.
All right. So where were you looking then from? Yeah, and definitely it's nice to see a bunch of people popping in here. Saw Shelton over 25.5 receiving yards for Mixon. We have to get back to that, because Odd Shopper disagrees. So I wonder where Rasa stands, maybe in the middle or maybe a lean on that. But you mentioned Rams sack props, like that's what you were looking at a little bit deep. So I opened it up just from a general 2+ sack leg, at least on that 2-leg parlay. What were you looking at individually?
Yeah, so I think things just like that. Certainly, if the Rams get a ton of pressure, the Titans did, and they did lose the game, but I feel pretty confident in thinking that that's going to lead them to a higher chance of victory. You could look at that, or even look at, I know that Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. He's absolutely unstoppable, but he also is so good that it kind of opens it up for some of these other players on this team. So if you look at individual player sacks, I mean, Aaron Donald's number is huge, but like Leonard Floyd to record a full sack, yes, is plus 130. Like, I think you can look to guys like that, and Von Miller to record a full sack, yes, is minus 150. I think all these guys can coexist in that market. I'm not going to get too hung up on it, but to me, the Rams or even to record the first sack in the game, you're laying some juice, but I think the Rams are going to sweep up those type of categories in this game.
Donald, I have, and now again, I'm in PA or New York, so depending on where you are, where you can legally place a wager, it may change, it may differ. You may not even have this specific prop in front of you, but Donald is plus 350 where I am, Von Miller plus 400, and those would be the two guys that you would want to target. Absolutely. This is to record the first sack right there. Okay. And again, value is hit because those two guys are clearly going to be the monsters and definitely the favorites to do it. But look, you're right, where they stand a greater chance than anybody, at least on the other side of it. Floyd is plus 600, so that's not terrible either.
That's what I'm saying. If it's not them, you're going to get, I think if you're building, and we're going to get into some long shot props, I think you can sprinkle on guys outside of Aaron Donald in props like that. So again, I don't want to get too hung up on that type of stuff, but I think you can look to that. And I want to point out one more. We're going to get to the Bengals side of things. And we just had Brennan in chat mention an interesting one with Boyd and Cooper Kupp, kind of the overs on both of them. I have no problem with stuff like that if you think the game kind of gets going and there's passing yards. But to me, Sony Michel is very interesting. His rushing yards prop on OddsShopper is 17.5 yards. We lean over, I lean over. And I think it's just the big question is what type of workload does he get against Tampa Bay? Non-existent. Then they gave him 10 carries in the last game, only 3 less than Cam Akers. If he's looking at a 60-40 split, he's going to crush that number. I know he's wildly inefficient, but if he gets, 7, 8, 9 carries, over 17.5 is a pedestrian number. So I think Sony Michel could have a role in this game.
Yeah, and let me just remind everybody too, because Odd Shopper is going to just find that book for you, and there aren't many books that are offering that particular prop in PA. So when I go and sort by PA, it gives me Bet Rivers. That's where I have to go to a specific bet there, a book there, pardon me. But a lot of these are just not even offering because that line is so low. So it's a shorter market. Like I can get Burrow rushing yards, but I can't get Michelle there. But absolutely, I agree, especially with the projection being so wide. It makes a lot of sense if you can target that and take it. The other thing, though, that popped up from, I guess, from the Bengals side was, and I saw this on chat as well, about Joe Mixon receiving yards and 26.5 if you want to go under that, 25.5, I think, depending on where you're looking to go over. But still, Odd Shopper itself looking to definitely go under with a projection of about 22.8. Mixon has definitely been a guy to look at and identify, I think, from like at any time or a 2+ TD type score, or even going over his rushing yards. Receiving, we've talked about him in the playoffs, Ben, where he doesn't go away if the Bengals need to throw. He can be part of the passing attack as well. That number, though, I don't know if it may be too sharp to play or if you were looking to attack it. Again, 25.5, depending if you wanted to go over, 26.5 to go under.
It's a scary one. Mixon's a guy that I go back and forth. I Odd Shopper, to their credit, and that's why we got to trust our projections a lot. They really like the under on his receptions last game, and I was a little skeptical. And he did only have 3 targets, and he converted all 3, but he didn't have a really big output there. So I do think more often than not, he still is the guy. Now, P. Ryan broke off the long screen pass. I think that was more luck than anything else.
Absolutely.
That's one I probably stay away from. I really respect Mixon. I think if the Bengals win, he's going to have a huge game. I don't know how they divvy that up, though. You know, if they can't get him going on the ground, do they split him out a little more and give him some screen passes and dump offs?
Yeah, I mean, P. Ryan, if you can get him right, as far as, all right, so put it like this. Most receptions, I see this here. P. Ryan versus Michelle. Minus, who do you think's favored in this?
I would assume it's P. Ryan, but neither of them are exactly racking up the catches.
No, but don't you think that okay, you're right. It is P. Ryan minus 180 to Michelle plus 140.
I mean, first of all, you're paying 40 cents of juice there. Like that's not ideal. He did, to Sony Michel's credit, he's had 2 targets in the last couple games.
And P. Ryan was luck. And clearly, come on, that was definitely something that's not sustainable.
I would rather just short P. Ryan's yards, to be honest, than really mess around with because I do think that Samaje P. Ryan will get at least 1 target, whereas I don't know what Sony Michel is going to get. He's more of, you know, he's kind of a goal line-esque guy. Akers can catch the ball. We have to also see, do the Rams get some other guys involved in that backfield? The whole situation, you know, with Henderson, that's something that I haven't really looked at just yet. So we got to keep an eye on that. But P. Ryan, I think you can short him, but that's only if the lines cooperate. He's not going to be a focal point of my card, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I think, you know, ultimately, if you were looking at, and I saw Kick put it up there, where there's a smaller market you think you could take advantage of under 10.5, I think 11.5 receiving yards, something like that. I think that makes a little more sense because even if there is 1 to 1.5 type reception game where that could go from 1 to 2, that doesn't that could be a screen that gets blown up. That could be something quick that gets stopped. Like you still have to get that yardage part of me, as opposed to just grabbing those passes.
Again, I think that's where you need to, I try to really do this more for the Super Bowl, but even in general, I take the game and then I drill down to the players that I like. But from there, it's not that simple because, you know, take Joe Mixon, for example. You have about 50 props that have him involved. So it's not just about liking a guy. It's, okay, now I have to find the props that are most applicable to what I'm talking about. So some of these guys, you know, like P. Ryan, it's like, yeah, I want to short him, but how? What's the most effective line to do that? Because even if you get the guy right, if you're taking the wrong line or you're not shopping the odds, it's still not going to be advantageous. So that's something this week more than ever, Eytan, I'm trying to sort through all the books and all the offers.
Let's look at this because I know we want to talk about the Bengals as we've brought up a couple of Rams things here. I think Dan has an interesting angle too. And this is going to kind of bridge together the two teams, right? Because so much of this, Ben, is on the quarterbacks. And I know a lot of people are playing Burrow, Stafford props. Those are going to be popular ones for sure. Dan comes out with Stafford over 279.5, which both of these guys, Stafford and Burrow, seem low. Just not gigantic, but they just seem low. Goes over 279.5, Cup over 99.5, plus 140 where he gets it on the book. Not too flashy, but look, that's not bad right there. Now, was that the parlay or is that just, I think those are individual and that's what he got for Cup over? That can't
I believe that's parlay. I think that's parlayed up. Just because it's so strongly correlated. That would be my guess.
Yeah, so I wonder if you're just better off playing them individually. Unless he dropped Cup's receiving yards to get to that number.
Yeah, same game parlay. I get it. I mean, those type of plays are going to be strong pieces of, you know, we have on OddsShopper, the Super Bowl prop parlay, where you can go in there and you can mix and match all sorts of bets for crazy payouts. I think that's going to be, you know, okay, I want to build a Rams, you know, they score 40 points in this game. Stafford over, Cup over, you know, Akers to score, the game goes over. You can do all that. Now you're going to be paying some value there, but at the same time, you're going to be able to build parlays like that. And I think the easiest one is Stafford and Cup paired up. They're unstoppable. Seemingly no defense can contain him.
No, I agree. That's a great correlation there to even where if you're getting dinked a little bit there on the return, you know that those two things have such a strong likelihood of happening. Like that correlation has more likelihood of happening than anything else, any other tandem in this game combined. All right. So for you, where were you attacking? And maybe something changed for you, maybe not so much. And, you know, just looking also at Burrow as well as a couple of other these passes. Both guys, by the way, getting you plus money, plus 130 for Stafford, plus 150 for Burrow to throw a first quarter touchdown, which seems pretty likely, at least that one of them would do that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll have to see how the game, that's stuff where you can get into the live markets. I know you've taken advantage of that at times, you know, seeing how these teams are coming out. Now the Bengals started very slow against the Chiefs and they found their groove and then some. So I get it. As a Rams backer, I'm not looking to bet the over on Burrow's props for obvious reasons. Doesn't mean they can't coexist. I just don't really want to do that with my card. There are a couple, and I'm going to save them. I'm going to pass this right back to you and ask your favorite Bengals props. In the long shot prop section, there are a couple Bengal-centric props that I got to bring up to you that I really like.
Oh, wow. So all of your Cincy stuff right now is long shot because you're so hyper-focused on the Rams winning this game.
And I think that makes sense.
Absolutely does
in the mindset,
sense.
You know, if something crazy happens with the Bengals, I could get bailed out of everything by hitting one of those long shot type parlays or props. Whereas, you know, betting a standard, you bet, you know, 120 to win 100 on Bengals, guys, that doesn't really jive with what I'm trying to do, which is have the Rams win and cover this spread. So I have some Bengals stuff on my prop list for this game, but it's more in the aggressive long shots where I don't have to allocate a lot of units.
I love it. All right, so I'll start here since you're throwing me into the deep end without even those little floaters that used to put on your arms there, man. You can't even give me those?
I love those things. I'm a terrible swimmer. I need them all the time.
Do you go in the pool or the ocean, or do you just stay away from both?
No, I like, you know, pool. I'm not a big ocean guy.
No? You live on the coast.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm going in the ocean. Don't get me started on I already had a rant about the ocean and space.
And
pools
space,
are fine.
What's next? The circus?
I don't like the circus. That's for
me neither. So we could share
Nobody likes the circus stuff.
I agree. It is a sad, miserable, lonely existence. And I'm talking about the animals, not the ones who cater to it. All right. Well, that's fine. I'll start here. And again, no floaties, nothing like that. Look, I think this kind of correlates to what we've been talking about. I was looking at this on Friday. I jumped in a little bit here. I took the Bengals most turnovers committed minus 105 because of the sacks. Like I'm
Okay.
looking at two things really that are guiding how I'm attacking this game, Ben. One, and it's really those two defined in the same game parlay. The Rams are going to get up first and ultimately going to win this game. I can't promise you if it's by 1 or by 50, but the Rams are going to get up and then win this game. And Joe Burrow is going to be on his back. That defense that he's facing is super legit, and it's built for any quarterback, no matter if that's Mahomes or in this case, Joe Burrow. Like, it's built for that. So with that, I like the Bengals to commit the most turnovers at minus 105. And look, I also don't like a lot of turnovers. I think that both of these quarterbacks are going to play a little more conservative. That's why I think the books are dropping these passing yardage down there a little bit for both guys, where it's not 290, 295 for each. So I went under 2.5 total turnovers for the game at plus 110, but I think the Bengals commit 1 to 2 turnovers. The Rams commit 1, if any, turnovers, and it's going to be more of a tighter game, but simply volume of Burrow on his back means that at the very least, they'll commit more turnovers.
Oh, that's fair. And I think for me, looking at the Bengals, one guy I do want to bring up is Tyler Boyd, who he's, playing kind of that third fiddle to just two absolute monsters with Higgins and Chase, but he's still a guy. He had 6 targets against Kansas City. If the pressure is getting to Burrow, he operates in that slot. I think he could see a healthy amount. Over 39.5 receiving yards. I don't think him going over puts the Rams at that much of a disadvantage. So that's a guy, if I had to take a Bengal and look over, I think Tyler Boyd could get a slight uptick if Burrow is forced, to really deflate the pressure. Some of these lower A-dot type routes against the Rams defense has shown to be effective. And I wouldn't be stunned to see Boyd kind of benefit from that.
So that brings up an interesting point here, right? Like, if we're attacking the counter, the non-obvious, Kupp, we've talked about heavily on one side. Chase is clearly the other guy here. What about the one in the middle, the man in the middle here in T. Higgins, who has shown some pretty strong numbers, especially when the Bengals have bounced or come back from wins the following week, where there's been this heavier presence and target from the defensive coordinators to continue to try to slow down Chase. Look, we're talking about the Super Bowl, right? These teams are either super red hot or super talented in a healthy combination of both. So it's not like we're sitting here in the middle of the regular season, Ben, talking about, soon to be 3-win Jaguars team. It's not as easy as said to be done, clearly.
Absolutely. And I think that Higgins, sometimes is overshadowed just by the ridiculous talent of Chase. This is a guy, he saw 19 targets in the last 2 games. He's a serious threat, just hasn't scored recently. We know that he can, but he's been held scoreless in the 3 playoff games. I don't mind T. Higgins for a lot of things. He's part of some of those long shot type plays that I'm looking at, because I think that T. Higgins is live to have a big game, and he's a scary guy as a Rams backer.
All right, so I can't even get multi TDs up at least here. Oh, no, I can. These are going to be fun here. So I think you're right. Like, again, I'm not touching the total. I'm not touching the spread. It's a matter of the Rams win. And I'm looking at it from that standpoint. And Joe Burrow is going to get sacked and hit a lot. That means, right, that easily the Bengals can be scoring and they can be playing from behind. So T. Higgins has, and again, I don't want to step on your toes here, so we purposely don't read any script ahead of time. This is all, that's why Ben's face when I come up with some of the most outlandish shit, it's all a natural reaction by all means. But look, a unit for him at plus 175, maybe a half or quarter unit to score 2 touchdowns for Higgins at plus 1,000.
I have no problem with that. Again, am I looking to do that? You have to shop that too.
Yeah. By the way, absolutely shop.
Definitely want to shop that. I just mean in general, those type of props, you're going to find wild differences. You'll find 10 to 1, 8 to 1, 12 to 1 on the same type of prop. I'm going to get right to it. We got about 5-10 minutes left. I'm going to give you a long shot prop. Do I think this is going to happen? No. Do I want this to happen? Also, no. As I'm in the pool there with my floaties. Look at that. Looking good.
Amazing, man.
T. Higgins.
What are you drinking, by the way?
It looks like a Busch Light.
Yeah, Busch. It does look like a Busch Light.
T. Higgins to score first and the Bengals to win the game, 28 to 1.
Whoa.
Not bad. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. But I don't mind the concept of trying to take a first touchdown score and that team to win. T. Higgins at 28-1, I think is a really good number as a Bengals backer if you want to go that route.
Wow. I did not anticipate that coming from you. Well, look, to be fair, you're not physically betting it, but you're saying if you like the Bengals, that's the play to go.
I think that even in the sense that for me, that's what I was talking about before. I can put a tenth of a unit on that. And if Higgins scores first, I now know if the Bengals win the game, I am bailed out. If the Bengals don't win the game, well, that's a good thing because I'm going to have a lot of Rams exposure. So it's just a way to kind of do that. You don't want to be hedging it where you're just raking yourself, just like with DFS. But I think that looking at him or even Jamar Chase to score first and the Bengals win, that's 17-1. Both of them, are pretty good numbers on Bengals, key figures in that offense. And if they do score first, the Bengals certainly will be taking the lead. I can guarantee that. You got that going for you at least.
You definitely will, especially because we mentioned that Ram streak of 9 straight games getting to 21st. So again, that doesn't mean that the Bengals can't be up 14-10 and then lose that lead and then not beat it 20. But you're right. That's definitely a Bengals lead. All right. So the T. Higgins power tower or tower of power, however you want to put it here. Anytime TD is plus 175. To score the first touchdown is plus 550. And again, these are all shoppable lines out here. I'm just giving you one specific book. Anytime TD is plus 175. First touchdown is plus 550. 2 TDs is plus 1,000. 3 TDs plus 6,000.
Yes. You got to take it. You always got to take it extreme. If Tegan scores 3 TDs, I'm going to be in a world of hurt. But I think that illustrates the point, by the way, of what we were talking about earlier in the show. Yeah. It's not just, I like T. Higgins. What do you do with that? Do you go to multiple TDs? Do you go to the Bengals winning and T. Higgins doing something? Do you go to a standard over on his receiving yards or receptions? That's where Odd Chopper is so important, because you can search by a player and pull up all his props at once and see the value within the value. So you can identify, it's not just T. Higgins overs. What's the best T. Higgins over to actually play?
All right. So just don't even think about it. Don't even just contemplate on it. Just come out and say right away here. All right. Who's scoring 2 touchdowns in this game?
So Kupp would be the obvious answer. I don't think I'm going to bet that because I don't like the line on something like that.
Yep. I agree.
I don't know. The problem I have with the Rams is that I don't think I want to go to like Mixon would be the interesting one in a sense like that. But again, I'm not really looking at that type of game flow. I don't think I'm going to have a single multiple touchdown player on my card. I'm hoping that Stafford distributes it somewhat evenly. Odell, the backs. We'll see if Higbee's good. And certainly Kupp is going to be involved.
Yeah, see, I think you can look at the obvious. Mixon's interesting. These are all shoppable, plus 450. Beckham plus 750. Higgins plus 1,000. Those are interesting to me. Higbee at plus 1,300, especially if you get close goal line red zone scenario. A couple of interesting ones, though, right? We have, Zoma trending in the right direction. You mentioned Boyd. And again, this is where I think it gets kind of long shot, like that Venn diagram of outlandish and believable kind of overlap. And then there's this middle ground here where, a guy like Van Jefferson could explode and have a couple of big plays downfield. Tyler Boyd could easily benefit. You mentioned the other 2 guys in front of him getting the majority of look. That's plus 616 for him, plus 14 for Van. And then if you wanted to go outlandish, you really could go to somebody like Ben Skoranek, because that's going to totally screw up so many people's bets and it's going to rake in big time. It would be the most counter public bet is that Ben Skoranek at plus 5,000 scores 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm not going to if I have any guys like that I want to get exposure to, I'll do it on the DFS side. I think that's how I would prefer. Van Jefferson maybe but they don't see enough volume.
Absolutely.
You're just really hoping for an outlandish play. You can benefit from that immensely in DFS. With betting, it's very difficult to get those types. I would rather take a long shot on a great player to do something extreme than an under the radar player to just make an impact. To me, you're getting more bang for your buck with Higgins or Chase doing something very lofty than betting, some fourth stringer who may only have 1 or 2 targets.
He's also, by the way, +8 for an anytime for Skoranek. So
I mean, he did have a chance. He should have scored in the last game.
And we talked about that anytime TD, that play. And I thought of us, this show, and somebody in the chat have brought him up as well. Is it just, all right, we're going to lock it up. We're going to get out of here. Any other long shot, anything else? I mean, look, the coin toss -105 either side here, heads, tails. You want to flip a coin and decide?
Yeah, a lot of people, you always hear that roar on the first second of the game as everyone bets the coin toss. I can't pick 50-50 shots to save my life. So no, I won't be messing around with the coin toss.
Are you betting on any of this other stuff here? This global market stuff at all?
Not really, unless I have a reason. I may, and later in the week, we're going to talk about maybe some like cross sport parlays, like something with waste management where they do those type of fun things. But no, I don't bet on like the Gatorade or anything like that. Unless I have some sort of advantage, but I don't. So
I just working in radio and media and dealing with people who have played there and on the sidelines for years. The concept is that if they don't have to change it, they won't. Meaning if it's like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter and it's down to like an eighth of the jug, they'll probably just let that rest. But if it's the same level with like 6 minutes to go in the third, then whatever is in there could change from red to blue or what have you. So it's really difficult based on how much guys are drinking. And that's another factor, is where the Super Bowl is being played, outdoors, the weather, etc. And yeah, there are a ton, by the way, in the waste management. Here I am thinking that like maybe you would be handicapping which of, the 3 or 4 songs Eminem, Dre, Snoop would be coming out to first, California Love or the next episode or something along those lines.
I leave that to you. No, I don't. I'm a very boring bettor. I don't spray and pray on those type of things too often. Maybe as like something for fun, but I just haven't even looked at them. There's so many. But no, not for me. I leave that to you. You hit us with the goods on Thursday.
All right, so not even anything right now. You want me to save that until Thursday?
Yeah, we got some time. Don't worry. Like I said, we have you covered throughout the week from VODs to the live shows. We're gonna have Pete McCarthy join us on Thursday as well. We're gonna have a great time. And I will say, for people just coming in for the first time, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, you're having some fun, you want to be part of this community, hitting that like button is the easiest way to support us, and press and subscribe. Totally free. You won't miss shows. We have a ton of content here at Odd Shopper. We're really growing the channel, and we would love for you guys to be part of it. That's what makes these shows fun. Absolutely. Thanks again. Hit us up on Twitter at JazzRazDFS, at Shander Show. Mike Awesemo here producing. And Carlos, I don't have time now, but I will explain why I don't think that it's California Love on Thursday, and why actually you should play California Love as the last song played across the board. All right. Look, we're going to get deep. Commercials. You never know what I got here for you, brother. All right. We appreciate everybody hanging. Hit that thumbs up, please. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed as well. Have a great week. We'll see you Thursday.